Hello everyone. I thought I'd have fun with this video and demonstrate what the problem is with garage sales today and all the eBay hype around them. I'm a customer at a garage sale looking for a deal. I come across this vintage Pyrex. I notice, first of all, it's filthy. A lot of scratches, some kind of white filth, like they took it out of storage and didn't even bother to wash it. And yet it's marked $25. Next, I take a look at this little desk, vanity. It's also vintage. The garage sale owner tells me that this piece was made in early 80s. The knobs have been changed, so they have modern knobs, but there's damage on this little desk, but yet they still want $110. Next, I come over to this lamp. While it is pretty and it has crystals on it and I like it, it will match my decor, there's no way I'm paying $49 when I can go to either Hobby Lobby or a place like Home Goods, Marshalls, even TJ Maxx, find something very similar for less than $30. When my children were younger, I used to love going to yard sales. There was nothing more fun than the thrill of finding an old Tonka truck that had been already played with in the mud. Some type of storage tote full of Barbie dolls with all the clothes and shoes that my daughter could play with to her heart's content, and get it all for less than $50 and fill a trunk in my car. I used to spend Saturday mornings plotting out a map anywhere from 2 to 50 miles out, and this is how I would spend my Saturday mornings. And it wasn't because I was an eBay seller. It was because I had children and I loved the thrill of finding a good bargain that I knew my kids would enjoy. It was something I really enjoyed doing. One time I distinctly remember, it was around, I guess, 2007, 2008, and there was a lady that had a yard sale. It was a good 20 to 25 minutes from here. And I drove over there. I didn't have my children with me, but my cousin was with me that day. And we went to this yard sale. I saw a pink Pyrex bowl. If you all are vintage lovers, I love vintage. When I saw that vintage bowl, I knew I had to have it. I didn't know it was worth anything. I just saw it sitting there and I thought, oh my goodness, a pink bowl, that is adorable, and I had to have it. It was marked $3, and the woman running the yard sale saw me carrying it around and offered to set it aside. But when I got home, she had pre-wrapped everything and then charged me one price for everything I bought. And when I got home, I realized I didn't have that pink bowl. It was upsetting to me because I did go ahead and count everything that I had bought from her, and it didn't add up. She had overcharged me. In addition, I told her that I was setting up an apartment for my cousin and I was buying her things, and that wasn't a lie. That was the truth. I wanted that pink bowl for me, for my own kitchen. She thought I was lying. She thought I was an eBay seller. Now, the tragedy behind that was I wasn't. I was just somebody shopping at a garage sale because I like to thrift. My cousin was thankful for the dishes I did get her to set up her apartment. I went back the next day. It was supposed to be a 2-day yard sale, so I figured, well, they'll still be out in their yard. I went back and I said, hi, do you remember me? I was here yesterday and I bought a big box of housewares from you for my cousin for her new apartment, but you charged me for something that I did not get. In fact, you overcharged me by $8. I picked up a pink bowl that was marked $3, and when I got home, I added everything up. You overcharged me $8 and I didn't get the pink bowl. I said, it wasn't so much that you overcharged me. If I had gotten that pink bowl, I would have never noticed. It was the fact that you overcharged me and you kept the pink bowl. What's up with that? And the lady got so irate. Now, mind you, this is a yard sale. Like, other people are there shopping. It wasn't like I knocked on their door and harassed them about this pink bowl. And she said, well, I know what you're up to and I know what you're doing, and you were trying to rip me off. I said, I have no idea what you mean. And she said, you're an eBay seller and you're going to resell that stuff. I said, I don't really care if I am. That's not the point. You had it out there for $3. I picked it up and put it in my pile in good faith. You said you were going to wrap everything up and I could collect it at the end when I finished walking around your yard sale. But instead you stole it and you overcharged me, so you're the thief. I said, it doesn't matter who shops at your yard sale. This is a public yard sale. If you don't want somebody paying only $3 for something that you think you can get more for, then don't put it out here for $3. I never did get that pink bowl. I have a feeling that she either put it up on eBay or I don't know, maybe she put it up for a higher amount in her yard sale. Regardless, it doesn't matter. It was a really ridiculous stunt for her to pull. And to call me names, and I'm a shopping paying customer. I don't recall ever having another incident like that. But the older my children got, the less I went garage sailing, because the older children get, they want to get into electronics. They're in it for the Nintendos and the games and the handheld games and the iPads. You all know, if you have kids, it goes from little kid toys to electronics. There's no in between, it seems. So at that point, I didn't really go garage sailing as much, but the ones I did stop at, I noticed that the stuff was disgusting. Either it had really bad odors, people would bring stuff up out of a really, really super musty basement and the stuff would just smell really bad, or they would put stuff out in their yard. And this is true. They would put stuff out in their yard and let it rain on it. Like they'd set up the night before or something and it was downpouring, and the next day you get there and everything is sopping wet mess. Or it had dried out over the 2 days of their yard sale, and by the time you got it, it's dried out and wrinkly and ruined because it had sat out in the rain. Now something like this vintage Pyrex, I don't mind that it's dirty if it's for the right price, but I'm certainly not going to pay $25 at a garage sale for something that is filthy. I happened to pick this up at Goodwill for $2.99. And as you can see, this is how I picked it up. I haven't even cleaned it yet. This is how it was on the shelf, just filthy dirty. But I think one has an expectation of thrifting in a Goodwill or a charity shop versus a garage sale where somebody is trying to get, you know, the maximum money they can, and they stick it out in their yard like this and want $25 for it. And it's full of scratches, you know, and everything else. I was also thinking about this when I was going to do this video, and I thought that would be like going to a bake sale at a church or a school function, and everything on the table is $5 and $10. $5 for a cake pop, $10 for a brownie. I wouldn't pay that. I don't know if you would pay that, but I certainly wouldn't. I might pay that for a whole cake, or, you know, a big, like maybe even half a cake I'd pay $10 for, but I'm certainly not going to pay $10 for a brownie. And I've never seen anybody at a bake sale charge those amounts. But if you go to a bakery, of course, you're going to pay top dollar for what they bake. They're going to have glass cases. They're going to be showing off all of their baked goods. They're going to offer a variety of baked goods: cookies, lemon bars, donuts, croissants, cake, breads, you name it, they have it, because that's what their specialty is. They're a bakery. You can expect to pay more at a bakery than you can a bake sale. In general terms, you wouldn't see bakery prices at a bake sale. And that's how I feel about garage sales and yard sales. The argument from people hosting garage sales and yard sales these days is, well, you can get it on eBay. You can find it on eBay for that price. I'm giving you $5 off. It's $25 here, but on eBay it's $30. Okay, folks, that's not a valid argument. And I'm going to break down why. My uncle actually was an antique dealer. He could find something for $1 and flip it for $1,000. He was top of his game when he was into antiques. He owned 2 brick and mortar stores in town. He taught me a lot about finding good quality stuff, what it was worth, stuff like that. That's where my background comes from in this topic. These are some things to consider if you are hosting a garage sale. Now, I know you might think, well, I have this old dish and I know it's vintage and I see what they get for it on eBay. Why can't I get that? Let me break it down for you. eBay reaches a much wider audience. If you aren't an eBay seller and you're having a yard sale with stuff laying around your house, your yard sale is not eBay. eBay reaches a much wider audience. eBay is international. Furthermore, how do you know, unless they tell you, that your customer is an eBay seller? Perhaps they're like me, buying things for my cousin. Perhaps they're just a mom shopping for her kids. Perhaps they're just somebody shopping for themselves. Perhaps they're just somebody who likes thrifting. What bothers me about this concept that, well, it sells for this on eBay for that much, so I know I can get it at my yard sale for that much. Even if they're not an eBay seller, but they sell online, that doesn't guarantee they're going to get the maximum money for it. So the logic there is out the window for me. I can't understand why somebody would say, well, I'm going to price this at my yard sale the same amount that it's on eBay. A lot of people that sell online don't even sell on eBay. So let's just clarify that right now. There are so many more platforms to sell on these days. People sell on Poshmark. I don't sell on Poshmark. I've never been to Poshmark. People sell on other sites. I've heard of this Whatnot live selling. I've never ever done that. But my point here is there are so many more platforms to sell on today besides eBay. If you're hosting a yard sale or a garage sale based on eBay prices, you may eliminate 99% of your customers because they don't sell on eBay to begin with. They're coming over there maybe to find a good deal for themselves, maybe find a good deal for a family member, maybe for their kids, maybe for their son's college dorm, maybe for their daughter's college dorm. You don't know why people are shopping at your yard sale, but you can't just assume everybody showing up at your door to shop in your yard is an eBay seller. It is true that a lot of people are eBay sellers. I'm not dismissing that. I'm just saying, per your logic of, well, I'm going to price this at top dollar because 99% of the people coming here are eBay sellers. That's not true. And if they are eBay sellers, they're not going to pay those prices. Why would they pay the price you're selling it at when that's all they can sell it for? People that sell on eBay are in it for a bargain so they can flip it for a profit. They're not there to give you top dollar so that they can't sell it. You see how that logic goes away? Let me give you some other reasons why it's not logical to set your prices at a yard sale as much as you would get for them on eBay. People that shop at garage sales and yard sales for eBay, it's a business to them, or it's a side hobby. People that do sell online, or people that go to your yard sale specifically looking for things to resell online, not just eBay sellers, but as I set forth above, there's many, many places to sell. They have to go through many processes to get that item up on eBay or whatever selling platform they're at to make that sale a success. Here are some things they have to go through. They have to clean the item. This dish you're selling for $25 at your yard sale is filthy. They have to go in, they have to clean all this. There's no guarantee that they can. This is scratched up. That diminishes the value greatly. Plus, not to mention the fact that there might already be 400 of those things up on eBay in mint condition. They also have to go through the photography process. I don't know if you've ever sold on eBay or anywhere else online. It is a pain in the neck. You have to photograph this item. When you photograph items like this, everything comes to the surface. Every speck of dust, if it's clothing, every piece of lint, every little flaw in fabric, every little stain, everything shows up on the camera. What you might not see in your naked eye is now on the picture. Well, if you're an eBay seller or another type of seller, now you have to contend with that. You might not have noticed it. Now you're stuck with this item that's very difficult to clean, and that also has blemishes that you didn't notice with the naked eye, but you have to disclose that in your selling listing. Guess what? It diminishes the value. Anytime there's a flaw in something, the price goes down. So that dish you thought was worth $25, even though it's filthy, dirty, scratched, and all that, it's not. In this condition, it will never sell on eBay. I can almost guarantee that. You'd have to give this away, as filthy, dirty, and scratched up it is, because there's way too many of these on eBay that are in much better condition. Nobody's going to pay you for this on eBay. When people sell online or on eBay, they have overhead. Believe it or not, even though they might be doing it from their living room. What do they need to sell online? Well, I'll tell you. They need to have Wi-Fi. It's their time invested. They have to sit down after they've already tried to clean it up the best they can, photograph it the best they can. Now they have to sit down with the item at their computer and try to list it the best they can. This costs them in Wi-Fi. They need some type of device, cell phone, a computer, a laptop, something, but they need a device in order to list the item. It doesn't just list itself in the air. Well, none of that is free. No matter what the device is, they have fees. They have overhead. They're going to have to pay a monthly fee for their cell phone. They're going to have to pay a monthly fee for the Wi-Fi. There are fees. Your yard, your garage, it costs you nothing to stick it on a table and offer it for sale. Also, it might take them a long time to sell the item. You're hoping to sell your item within a day out in your yard. It doesn't usually work like that on eBay or any other selling platform. Have you ever watched YouTube videos of people that sell online? They have storage units. They have warehouses. They have buildings for the stuff that they have for sale online. Some of these people wait a year, 2 years, or more for that product to sell. And as it's waiting to sell, it's increasing the amount of fees they are paying. They have all kinds of fees they have to pay to have that item up for sale. That may involve eBay listing fees. It may involve an eBay monthly fee. It certainly involves an eBay final value fee for when it does sell. These fees can be steep. They also have to ship the item. Now, this dish, they're going to have to use a lot of padded material, bubble wrap, styrofoam, a nice big box. All that costs money. eBay sellers are also responsible for income tax generated by eBay sales. So now, yes, they sold that item on eBay, say, but guess what? They also have to pay tax on that as income. I bet you didn't pay tax when you sold it out in your yard sale. When you sell something in a yard sale in my state, you're supposed to have a license. You're supposed to have a permit. I have never, ever seen anyone posting a license or permit in their yard to have a yard sale. I have never seen anybody yet. And I've never seen the tax authorities go after anyone for having a yard sale. However, it's on the law books. I don't know about all states, but this state, you have to have a permit. Also just heard Texas is now charging tax to residents on eBay fees. They're considering it a service. So they're taxing eBay as a service. I mean, come on now. So here you have this dish stuck in your yard sale that you want to get $25 for because you saw it on eBay for $25. Keep these things in mind next time you have a yard sale. I just want to make sure that you have a successful yard sale without getting hung up on, well, I could get this much money on eBay. Perhaps, but perhaps not. If you actually want to sell something and you have somebody in front of you offering you money, take the money and run. When I go shopping and thrifting, If I see something that's too expensive, I walk by it, I don't buy it, right? But the difference is if you want to have a yard sale where you actually sell some stuff so you don't have to pack it back up or donate it to charity, then sell it and be reasonable about it. There's no reason to think that you're losing out on money just because on eBay it's listed for this much, but you only have a buyer in your yard that will give you $3 or $4 for it. You're not going to be able to sell this on eBay in this condition, this worn out, scratched up, horrible, filthy condition. If you're having a yard sale and you're having a garage sale and you're in it to make money, then have that mindset. Just because you have something vintage doesn't mean that you're going to get top dollar for it. If you are having a yard sale, just remember, if you do actually want to make some money, be reasonable. Don't think of it like, that's an eBay seller, they're ripping me off. I'm not going to let it go for $5 when I know they're getting 50, because I just showed you all of the reasons. An eBay seller, or any seller for that matter, that's buying that item has to clean it, photograph it, list it. They have to pay all kinds of fees. They have to pay eBay, sales tax, state fees in some cases. And they might not be able to sell it for 1-2 years or more. So just be reasonable. If you do want top dollar for something, then try to get it yourself on eBay, or try to get it on Facebook Marketplace or some other selling platform, or put an ad in the paper, something like that, especially if it is worth a lot. But if it's old junk like this, used, dirty, scratched, please stop doing that. Because what's going to end up happening is you're going to have to box everything up and bring it back in your house. You're not going to sell anything. You're not going to make any money. Cash is king. Always remember that. Cash is king. Money in hand is the best. If you have somebody, regardless of who they are, single mom shopping for kids, bargain hunter, thrifter, if you have somebody making a reasonable offer, take it. And I'm not talking about the ones that come up and say, how much do you want for that? $10. Well, I'll give you 25 cents. I'm not talking about that person either. I'm talking about if you have something like this and you've marked it $25 because that's what you saw it selling on eBay for, come down on the price, knowing that the person has to clean it, list it, photograph it, pay all kinds of fees, and ship it. Oh, and let's talk about the shipping. This is heavy. This is probably, I would say 3 pounds, maybe more. So now they've got to pay postage on that. And you could be sitting there saying, well, that's not my problem. I want this much money for it. Yes, I realize that. However, what I'm talking about is it's better to get what you can than get nothing at all. I just want to see you have an incredibly successful yard sale and garage sale. And if you haven't seen my prior video on the fundraiser I did, I shopped at Goodwill once and I raised over $8,000 for the high school for the class trip at the end of the year. So you're talking to somebody who knows. You're talking to somebody who appreciates the value of $1 here. I'm not just speaking off the cuff. I'm not into this. I have really no skin in the game. I'm just explaining to you how it would be better off for you to take what you can get if you really want to sell it. I hope you find this video helpful. Please comment down below if you've experienced this as an eBay seller. Maybe you felt the prices at a garage sale were way too high, or I want to hear from you if you've hosted a garage sale and felt like you were taken advantage of by an eBay seller. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.